my life. Hope you guys are feeling blessed and grateful to be alive. Don't forget to like, share, and support the platform, and also to support. So, as you can see per this video, the title is self control, self control, self control, dignity, and self respect. I'm sorry, I just got a text up with some good news. So that's why I kept saying self control, but self control, dignity, and self respect. Okay, so here it is. Many so there's a lot of reasons why people, perceptions, social constructs, stereotypes, all of these things influences the way people see you, right? Unfortunately, that's the world that we live in, and we can't do nothing about it except become confident and secure in who we are and live life freely and boldly, right? By being authentic. And so oftentimes people prejudge, they have preconceived notions about you based on, just their life and what they've learned, right? And so, specifically when it comes to people who are going through stuff. So, for example, you may be in a season right now where you're down and out, right? You're having to go get handouts. You're having to go to the welfare office. You're having to live in a shelter. You're having to have experiences that are typically associated with people who are not on their feet for whatever reasons. And hopefully, because you're watching this, you're someone who is seasonally going through a season of less than, okay? And that this is not going to be a portion or your portion for a lifetime. But in the season, as you're going through the struggle, as you believe in God to manifest His promises in your life, as you are transitioning careers, as you are pursuing the things that God has called you to do, not without trials and tribulations, not without testing, not without, you know what I'm saying, standing in faith and believing for breakthrough, you are going through some stuff, right? You're going through some stuff when it comes to your encounter with people. When it comes to your experiences, people are judging you because they perceive that you are poor, or they perceive that you don't have any money, or they perceive that you're homeless. And oftentimes, they'll say, okay, if a man was well dressed, right, and he was to go on the street and ask someone for money, more than likely people are going to give him the money because in their eyes they don't see him as a beggar, or they don't see him as someone who is poor, right? For whatever reasons, it has been scientifically proven and it has been tried and tested that if you were dressed up, and I've seen what is it called? I've seen experiences like this, right, where they'll have someone dressed up and they'll have them go asking for money, and you will see people quick to give the person $1 or however much money. But someone who looks like a beggar, someone who looks like they're down and out, someone who looks like a vagabond or homeless, people, not all, some people do give, but people for the most part will turn away. And that's just the society that we live in, okay? And so being homeless or being poor, has its negative connotations and perceptions that often, even when it comes to looking for a job, if you're homeless, sometimes people think, okay, we're not going to give this person a job or an opportunity because it's, in some cases, it communicates that they lack discipline, or they lack the ability to be independent, or they lack responsibility or accountability. That's why they're in the situation that they're in. I'm talking this close because it's windy, and I know when I do these lives, the wind be breaking up my sound. So considering all these things that I've just said, it's important for you, and I'm coming on here, I'm talking about this because I just had an experience, not a new one. I've had these experiences before, but this time I've dealt with it so much more dignified and so much more in a way that I know that God has worked on me, that He has transformed me, and that everything, and this is for you too, anything that the enemy will try to have you lose your dignity or to lose your self-respect. Thank you for joining the live, right? That God will give you the strength and the dignity to deal with situations and to deal with people, that it doesn't matter what your current situation is, that you're going to have the confidence and the dignity to respond with class and tact, especially as men. Another thing in society, there's an expectation that if certain men of certain races, it's already perceived that they tend to be hyper aggressive, or they lack the ability to communicate respectfully, or communicate in a way that that is authoritative, or communicate in a way that expresses professionally what needs to be done, or what needs to express. So for example, I just came from a career hub, right? Because I wanted to find out some information about training and development. And for whatever reasons, the woman who was the woman that I spoke to, I had spoken already to another person. I didn't have there wasn't any issue, but this woman that I spoke to, apparently, some people just don't like the fact that you're able to have confidence, or you're able to express yourself, or you're able to have a certain tact about you, and an ability about you, that it doesn't matter what your situation is, it doesn't define you. So oftentimes when you're in situations where you're seeking help, people want you to be insecure, they want you to feel inadequate, they want you to feel like you don't know nothing. So the minute that you do show up with some level of confidence and intelligence, that can be intimidating for people who are so often used to people who are down and out and don't have any dignity. What you find is that when this happens, right? All you got to do is maintain your frame. This is for my fellas out there. Maintain your frame, maintain your confidence. Don't get emotional. It's easy to get offended. There's a lot going on, especially if you're trying to make ends meet and you're trying to get right. It's a lot going on mentally and spiritually and emotionally. And there should be, even when you're even as a professional and you're working in social services, or you're dealing with the vulnerable populations, you need to and should have a level of compassion and understanding to know who and what you're dealing with, and to have the patience that is needed to cater to the type of clients that come into your business. So obviously this individual, again, I don't I believe in grace. I believe that, this person could have been having a bad day. I believe, what I'm saying, or it could just be that's her personality. That's who she is. I don't know, because it was the first time that I met her. But it was very clear after I checked her, and I checked her not in the way people would think, right? I specifically asked her a simple question. Are you having a good day? It and try to keep going with the back and forth. And I said, okay, yeah, you told me to sign in. All right, I'm doing that now. But we're talking about something different. Let's not deviate from the issue here. Okay, I'm here to get help. And your tone and your attitude is just completely off. What's going on? Okay. And so what is the issue? And then she goes, I'm sorry. And that's what people do, right? Oftentimes people get away with bad habits and bad behaviors, and sometimes they don't get the right people to check them, because in that situation, if I had gotten emotional and gotten all crazy and loud, they would have called security, and they would have said, oh, I was a problem, I was being antagonistic. But because I was able to maintain my frame, my self-respect and my dignity, and was able to have a conversation with her like an adult, and to basically say to her, I'm here to get help. You are the professional, aka you are the person that is supposed to have a level of compassion and understanding. So even if I were to come in there distraught and distressed, okay, you should have that understanding, because you, in the environment that you're working in a career hub where you're dealing with clients who are dealing with joblessness for months, homelessness, and all these different things, you should definitely have compassion and understanding, as opposed to taking things personal, even if I did anything personal towards her, or if I said something that offended her, right? Her behavior and her response to the situation was unprofessional and disgraceful. But I didn't allow that to turn me away from what I went there for in the first place. And that's how the enemy acts sometimes, right? Sometimes there's an opportunity that God has prepared for you, and the enemy tries to get involved by turning situations not in your favor. But I pray this video and this live lets you know. You can't hear me? You still can't hear me? I pray and that this live lets you know that can you still hear me? You still can't hear me? I pray that this live encourages you and reminds you of the importance of maintaining your self-respect, your dignity, and just keep pressing forward, keep moving forward, keep building, and God is going to work things out for your good. With that being said, I am Corwin L. Williams from CLG Lifestyle. And I will talk to you guys later. I hope he's saying I can't hear you. I hope you can hear me. I hope you can really hear me. All right, later, guys.